A pleasant day to all of you out there. I'm Cito Beltran, and you are watching the program Agenda via Signal TV, channels 8 and 250, or perhaps on facebook.com/OneNewsPH and YouTube One News PH. Today is October 21, 2020. It's a Wednesday, middle of the week. And we are currently experiencing the approach, the presence. I don't know where Pepito is, but Pepito, the typhoon, is somewhere, lurking somewhere, wreaking havoc in some places, causing floods and a lot of rain. But we do hope that you are dry, that you are safe, and you are indoors, because it's not going to be pleasant today. And we just hope that everything works out for all of you. Today, we are going to have an interesting group of people. We will be speaking to them mostly on COVID-related questions, issues, but going from the normal, we will be speaking with two doctors who are pushing for the suppression, an opposition to the fear pandemic, because it seems that their sentiment is masyado na tayong napapraning, okay, or we're overreacting to the pandemic. We'll figure that out. They will be Dr. Iggy Bayani, Dr. Homer Lim. They are founding members of the Concerned Doctors and Citizens of the Philippines. Let's find out from them what is the state of affairs, because, as I was preparing for this morning, something occurred to me that medyo tayo hindi natin iniisip, pero yung mga frontliners natin, our frontliners are now the equivalent of soldiers. They get dressed, they get ready for work every day, knowing they're going to enter into a battlefield, into a war zone, so to speak. Wala ngang acoustic effects, walang balang lumilipad. Actually, mabuti pa nga yung nagpuputukan at nagbabarilan. Medyo alam mo, you have an idea where the enemy might be, where the chance of being shot could be, or where you could end up in a landmine. But for our health workers nowadays, they are on the front lines fighting something they can't see. And unfortunately, the first victims have always been either senior citizens like me or frontliners such as nurses, doctors, medical technicians, and ambulance drivers. And so, kanya ako naisip na para silang mga sundalo. Could it be possible that some of them are already shell-shocked? Is it possible that some of them are already contemplating on, do I really want to go back to the battlefield? Let's find out about that. So for that, we will also be speaking to Dr. Jaime Almora, President of the Philippine Hospital Association, kasi merong mga nagsasuggest na, bumababa yung numbers, pa-time out, magbakasyonin na muna natin yung mga iba. Medyo... Ewan ko kung pampolitikang pananalita yun, namumulitika, or is it really a time for our frontliners to go on vacation? Ewan ko, parang that in effect is what was being suggested. And last but not the least, let's speak with Governor Presbitero Velasco. He's been a guest of an agenda. Governor of Marinduque and President of the League of Provinces of the Philippines, because it seems that a lot of governors are kind of, exchanging notes and asking, so what exactly is the new normal under the new normal? If things are being opened up, if Filipinos now will be allowed to travel, and we want to move forward, what do governors have to do? What do governors need to know in order to get their playbook out? Kumbaga yung PBA naglalaro na. Yung bayo ko si Eric Altamirano and my sister Marisa are already working so hard with Baham Mitra of the Games and Amusement Board to put up their 3x3 bubble dyan po sa may St. James Academy dyan sa Calamba. And it's not easy, mag-umpisa sila na para silang houseboy, housekeeping, lahat dinidisinfect yung buong facility, tapos para kang security, sinisecure and kino-cordon off mo yung lugar, and then para kang Bureau of Quarantine, sine-check mo lahat ng papasok at hindi sila pwedeng lumabas, etc. So, it's a new normal under the new normal where Filipinos will be allowed to now travel more and kailangan pong paghandaan ng mga governors yan. So let's find out about all of that today. And if you have questions, you can reach us via Facebook and we will try to ask our guests your questions. Anyway, here are the stories from the front page of the Philippine Star. President Rodrigo Duterte has vowed not to forgive officials involved in corruption. President Duterte, who has been accused by critics of applying a double standard on some officials linked to corruption, said that he may place a new structure in government to better curb corrupt acts. This came after reports of corruption in the Department of Public Works and Highways as senators are also alleging that the DPWH budget contains billions in lump sum appropriations. Akala ko ba walang pork barrel? In line with this, DPWH Secretary Mark Villar has formed a task force to look into these reports of corruption. It's nice to know that the president is taking notice of corruption again, recognizing corruption exists in his administration. Just a humble suggestion, Your Excellency, balikan mo po yung dati ninyong model, business model. Yung bang batok sabay palayas. Diba? In the first year of the Duterte administration, I remember how the president would essentially say, you fire that. Bale, hindi yung ganito na ginagawa niya ngayon na there is corruption in the DPWH. In the first year, he would pinpoint who the corrupt person was, publicly expose the person, and have the person fired. And that was a very effective business model or practice of the president. Kasi the last thing most of these criminals or these corrupt officials want is not to be caught for stealing. It comes with the crime. Pero yung mapapahiya ka in public by the president, medyo yun. That served to, to really curb corruption to a certain degree. Medyo hindi na ginagawa ni presidente, puro napahapyaw. In any case, Tropical Storm Pepito caused flooding and landslides in some parts of the country as it made landfall in Aurora last night, yung province po ng Aurora. Typhoon Pepito has garnered more strength yesterday afternoon as it barreled towards the Isabela Aurora area. The tropical storm is expected to exit Luzon landmass this morning, but it may also intensify into a severe tropical storm, according to the Weather Bureau Pag-asa. Thus, it may continue to bring rains to most of the country. Paalaala lang po, no? Total, hindi pa naman tayo na direct hit ng isang malaking typhoon. Pero I just want to remind all of our viewers, in case you're the type of person who likes to plant and who has a lot of trees, especially around your house, once this weather settles, it's sunny again, etc., may I suggest that you prune your trees because alam nyo po, maraming puno tumutumba kasi hindi tinatabasan. Ang puno parang tao, parang lalaki, parang babae. Paminsan-minsan kailangan ng haircut o hairstyle. So yung mga puno ninyo, i-hairstyle nyo. And then spiritually, mentally, physically, when you prune, when you trim, it makes things healthier. Okay. Now, finally, third news, the Trade Department has offered to provide 4 billion pesos worth of soft loans for micro and small enterprises in order for them to release the 13th month pay of their employees. Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III said the Department of Trade and Industry has a 10 billion peso funding from one of its attached agencies, and they are willing to share 4 billion pesos of that amount to subsidize small businesses in this time of pandemic. This fund is part of the allocations to DTI under the Bayanihan 2 law. Okay, so yan po, no? May pera ang DTI. Mabuti pa yung DTI, may pera. May natatabing pera. Maraming negosyante, hindi nagtabi ng pera, puro expand, expand, expand. Ayun, nung tumama ang indulto, wala nang pera. Ngayon, I just want to suggest to the DTI, baka mas maganda, Secmon Lopez, ipautang mo sa DOLE. Para yung DOLE, mag-iingat din sa pamimigay o pagpapautang ng pera. Kasi mahirap naman yung, ikaw na yung nag-save, ikaw na yung magpapahiram, ikaw pa yung mga ngasiwa sa pagpapahiram sa mga businesses. I mean, it's all a good idea, but if I were Secretary Lopez, lend it to the DOLE so they know they owe the DTI. And then they will be a little more circumspect about lending out all of that money. In any case, the Education Department, ito po serious, very serious news and call out. The Education Department calls on the public to stop connecting, associating, or linking distance learning with suicide incidents of teachers and students. The Department of Education said this is a sensitive and complex issue. Plus, they have also received police reports about the cases of suicide, and none of these referred to blended learning as the primary cause. The DepEd also urges the public to respect the privacy of these families. Meanwhile, the agency assures they are continuously reaching out to their teachers, staff, and learners, providing them with psychosocial services as needed. Alam niyo po, yung suicide is a very sensitive issue, and we are only just beginning to implement this distance learning. Aba, hindi pa nga natatapos yung isang buwan eh. Ayan na kayo, sinasabi nyo na dahil dyan sa distance learning, nagkaka-suicide. Medyo, just the fact that you even put focus on something that is still a mystery, that is still unclear, and that has yet to be established, I think that is very irresponsible. Meron ngang nagsabi sa Amerika, isang doktor ang nagsabi na ang tawag dun tabloid medicine, okay? Tabloid medicine. Relax ka lang, Gabi. Ini-introduce ko na yung ating programa. Yung tabloid medicine, kumbaga, parang nanood ka lang ng video, bumasa ka lang ng headline, bilang gumawa ka na ng medical assessment or association, dahil dyan sa mga distance learning yan, na trauma, kanya ganito, ganon. It's irresponsible po. Okay, let's go to our first set of guests and our topic for the day. It involves the concerned doctors and citizens of the Philippines, CDCPH. We have with us Dr. Iggy Bayani and Dr. Homer Lim. Good morning, gentlemen. There's Iggy, that's Dr.
Hi.
Iggy, and then there's Homer Lim. kikita naman natin sa facial features kung sino yung Lim at sino yung Agbayani. In any case, Docs, welcome to the program. Pagpasensya nyo na, chini-cheer up ko lang kayo kasi medyo hindi maganda yung panahon. What is this CDCPH? Medyo nag-react ako kasi sabi ko, CDC, baka mamaya makasuhan sila for using an acronym that could be misleading, and also, ano ba itong dahilan kung bakit tinayo nyo itong CDC? Go ahead, Dr. Iggy and Dr. Homer.
Yeah, if I may, Homer, no? Well, CDC, from the name na lang, we're very concerned. And we're not just doctors, we're citizens who have noticed that I think our policies and our strategies towards COVID need some modifications, and very important modifications. So that's why this group was formed. And we go from both the treatment, from the lockdowns, to the things that we can do to help our health. So many things that we'd like to offer.
Okay, Dr. Homer, your view?
Yes, so our goal here is really how to go beyond this pandemic, meaning how we can survive not only this pandemic, also the following. What if there's another virus? Will we going to another lockdown? That's definitely not the way to go. So our goal here is how to get out of the lockdown properly, not, and make sure that when government policies are made, it's based on data, it's based on science, not based on opinions or suddenly saying, oh, we have to do this without any scientific basis or data.
Okay, it has been said by, I honestly can't cite who exactly, but in the write-ups or things that I have read on Facebook, it has been said that the strange thing about the Philippine experience is that the pandemic or the quarantine is being handled by military and political persons and not doctors, not physicians. What's your reaction to this?
Well, I think because they're the more visible ones. But I think the policy itself is the thing that needs to be modification. I mean, the military is helpful. I'm never going to say that they're not helpful, but I think it's the policies behind their actions that need to be modified.
Okay, Dr. Homer, Dr. Iggy, since you mentioned policy, okay, yesterday the big news was that the mayors of Metro Manila insist on keeping GCQ, General Community Quarantine status, until the end of December 2020. What is your reaction, and what is the CDCPH pushing forward to, that's different from what the government is doing?
Yeah, well, number one, we actually believe, and there's evidence to show this, that lockdowns don't work. So GCQ is a form of a lockdown. You're restricting people from moving around, getting out of their house, going to school, and stopping businesses altogether. And as I think most of us already know, that millions have lost their jobs, and businesses have failed. Health problems have not been, other than COVID, have not been paid attention to. So it has caused death. It has caused other diseases as well. And as you mentioned earlier, even suicides. So even the WHO has mentioned, I think Dr. Navarro, one of the special envoys of the WHO, and he's never corrected. I quote him, "The only time we believe a lockdown is justified is to buy you time to reorganize, regroup, rebalance your resources, protect your health workers who are exhausted, but by and large, we'd rather not do it." So that's from the WHO. Even Tedros himself did not go against that. And here's another quote: "Lockdowns just have one consequence that you must never, ever belittle, and that is making poor people an awful lot poorer." That's, again, Dr. Navarro. And even Tedros himself, the head of the WHO, echoed that message, that poorer countries will be affected more by lockdowns.
Okay, so Homer, Dr. Homer, what is the CDCPH or your organization pushing for? Because I read in even before, because I've followed your group for a little while, and medyo nataas yung kilay ko kasi you guys are actually promoting or suggesting the use of hydroxychloroquine. And sabi ko, mabuti hindi pa natatanggalan ng lisensya itong dalawang to. Considering the pushback against hydroxychloroquine and yung tinatawag niyong prophylaxis treatment of patients. Dr. Homer.
Actually, the one who said that it is illegal has been, kumbaga, medyo mali yung pagkaintindi niya, no? As early as March, no, DOH already had a memo showing that, telling that we can use antivirals off-label for this pandemic. It was already, they had that memo. So to say that it is illegal to use hydroxychloroquine is actually not correct. Number two, how can you say hydroxychloroquine is illegal if in fact it does shows to have effect on COVID patients? I personally use hydroxychloroquine with azithromycin for over 130 patients now, and how many patients have gone to the hospital because of severe infection? Only one, and that person was not. Was not able to see her quite early. By the time I saw her, she was already having hard time breathing. So to say that hydroxychloroquine is illegal is actually, that's very wrong, and that's very sad, because we have life-saving medicine that can actually prevent hospitalization, prevent mortality. Isn't that what we want at the end of the day? So I think we have to reconsider and really study again how to use this, what we call very cheap, affordable medicine for this pandemic. So we have to be flexible. We cannot say just no. We have to be flexible with regards to this.
Okay, but let's put our cards on the table. The government and the spokesperson keep saying that we are doing quite well based on one fact, that our mortality rates, yung mga bilang ng mga namamatay sa Pilipinas because of COVID-19 is very low compared to other countries. Now, when I was doing my assessment, my analysis, I said, then the only reason this is possible is because the doctors and the frontliners are doing something very right. Now, is this very right, including the use of hydroxychloroquine and all of these other for compassionate use medicine? Kasi parang suspecha namin, ginagamit nyo na yan pero ayaw nyo lang aminin o ayaw sabihin sa publiko.
Okay, so yeah. So what's when are we doing good? Okay, maybe in terms of COVID, we're doing good, but let's be frank. COVID is just one. How about those with cancer, heart disease, diabetes? How about them? Everybody seems to have forgotten that we still have these diseases, whether or not we have COVID. So even if our mortality rates for COVID is a bit low, if you're going to look at the total picture, we're not doing good. Look at our economy. How will it survive in the next 1 to 2 years? So I think we are looking at a different metric. So when we look at things, shouldn't we look at the whole economy, the whole Philippines, not just one metric, which is your number of deaths, number of infections? That doesn't seem to be the right way to look at it.
Okay. So Iggy, what is your group proposing? I mean, can you spell it out? Kasi one was the use of hydroxychloroquine as prophylaxis preventive medicine. What else are you guys proposing?
I think number one is that we want to really take out lockdowns and replace it with something more rational, such as isolation of the sick and focused protection. Because what's happening with lockdowns is also affecting the healthy. So we think that the best way to manage this disease is like similar to the way we manage lesser diseases compared to yung SARS, no? But sometimes you have to lock down. but it's not as bad as SARS. So the management should just be isolating the sick, taking care of them, and protecting the vulnerable. The other things that we are proposing, of course, is that we use hydroxychloroquine. It is cheap, it works, and there are many. The other third one is about increasing our immune resistance, because a big factor in getting what we call herd immunity is actually improving the health of the country. So basically, those three things we'd like to correct, because lockdowns really is hurting us more than it's helping. And I think there's a treatment out there that is not given attention, and we're not putting more attention to vitamin D, exercise, sunlight, zinc, vitamin C. Not enough, not enough. So you want to put focus on that.
Okay, quick questions. Hydroxychloroquine. I wanted to take it, and because I'm familiar with the medicine, I used to take it when I was building resorts in Palawan. So, it was just like another vitamin for us to prevent malaria. But the my cardiologist said, Kuyang, can't, because you have 5 stents, you have COPD, may mga comorbidity ka, baka magkaroon ka ng ano ba yon, yung sa heart-related reaction. What about adverse reaction for hydroxychloroquine?
Actually, no. If the only people who are not who are
At risk,
contraindicated to hydroxychloroquine are those who have what we call heart rhythm abnormalities. No, heart rhythms, meaning yung heart rate nila irregular or medyo masyadong mabagal ang heart rate. So these are the people who are really not supposed to take hydroxychloroquine. No. Number two, I think what we have to emphasize, no, we're not saying everybody takes hydroxychloroquine like vitamins. It's going to be only the high risk group of people. So that's your doctors, nurses, your ambulance drivers, your security guard, everyone who is exposed to high number of people. These are the high risk group people, high risk group that needs hydroxychloroquine to avoid infecting not themselves only but others, because they're exposed to a lot of people. So
Pati
number
na yung
two,
pati na yung
yes,
mga pulis natin. Now,
yes.
wait, yeah, Homer, well, just a clarification. Ano ba yung positive, or what is the good thing about hydroxychloroquine that makes it useful for treatment or prevention of COVID-19 complication?
Okay, so when we give hydroxychloroquine, no, we don't give it parang when you're already very very sick. We have to start it early. So that's one of the proposals. Prophylaxis, number one. Number two is early outpatient treatment. So once you get symptoms, once you know that you already been exposed to COVID and you already have symptoms, you start taking your hydroxychloroquine, your azithromycins, your vitamin C, vitamin D, your zinc. So it's not only hydroxychloroquine, it has to be a combination. Number two, the dose. The dose is only 200 milligrams twice a day. So that's 400 milligrams per day, no? So it's a low dose, not the dose that, doctors have been quoting about WHO saying that it does not work, because the WHO trial uses 1,800 milligrams to 2,400. Of course, you're going to have heart problems, right? The dose is only 400 milligrams.
I
And,
remember,
yes.
I remember, Doc Homer, that the American group, group of American physicians who went online, they were suggesting only 200 milligrams once a week as a preventive
Yes.
dose. Doc Iggy, pasok ka na lang when you want to, no? But
Yeah.
iba yung pinopropose nyo, 400 milligrams a day, but
For
only when
treatment. For treatment.
for treatment. Pag may symptomatic ka na.
Yeah, yeah. Pag
Okay.
prophylaxis, tama yun once a week. Once a week
Okay.
pag
Kasi,
prophylaxis.
kasi Cito, there seems to be some kind of big debate going on worldwide whether hydroxychloroquine works or not. The ones who say it doesn't work are citing solidarity and recovery studies. And Dr. Homer just mentioned there seems to be something very strange why they use a high dose. Of course, it won't work because it will cause toxicity. So how is it possible that the WHO could make such a simple mistake? Then there was these two studies which says that hydroxychloroquine does not work, and they were retracted from the Lancet and the New
Yeah.
England Journal nonetheless.
Yeah,
Those
they
are
were
very
published. Yeah, they were
Yes.
published first in the Lancet, nung biglang nagkabulgara na, teka, in-overdose ninyo yung
Now, yeah,
prescription, pinulaw.
those are four major events showing you that there's something very, very fishy going on. And we are amazed because, like Dr. Homer, he uses it in lots of patients. And we've talked to hundreds of doctors in the Philippines who also use it and have very good results. And Dr. Rish, I think Homer would be more knowledgeable about him. He's an excellent Yale professor who says it works, and this is in the U.S.
Okay, now we obviously I don't want to get into trouble. Although, sige lang, bring it on. As far as I'm concerned, but I'm not a doctor, and I don't want to be party to being irresponsible, pushing something I have no knowledge of. But sige, tabi muna natin yung hydroxychloroquine. Pero one question lang bago natin iwanan yung hydroxychloroquine. Bakit natin ginagamit yung hydroxychloroquine? Kasi ang parang nadinig ko lang anti-inflammatory or something. Sabi ko, makes sense kasi namamaga yung mga baga ng pasyente. Why are you guys prescribing hydroxychloroquine?
Actually, no, it's hydroxychloroquine with azithromycin and zinc, no. So the analogy, no, para pinakamabilis na para maintindihan, you need the zinc inside the cell to stop the virus from replicating or magmumultiply yung virus sa loob ng cell. Now, the zinc is your bullet. The hydroxychloroquine is your gun. So you need the hydroxychloroquine as the gun to put the zinc into the cell. So it's not only anti-inflammatory, it's actually an antiviral medication. And they've been using hydroxychloroquine since the SARS and the MERS. So they have experience using hydroxychloroquine for not only COVID but other coronaviruses.
Okay.
Our hearts are really into this, Cito, kasi
Yeah.
if you don't use it, you're given the alternatives to very expensive drugs. It just works. So it will save lots of Filipinos who can't afford the expensive drugs. And this works. It's not just because it's cheap.
Magkano ba yung ano na yan, yung hydroxychloroquine? Barya lang daw eh.
Pag it's around 60 to 70 pesos per tablet.
Parang ilang bote ng beer lang. Dalawang bote ng beer lang, boy ka na.
Yeah, the total
Tama,
treatment, di ba, I think is around 2,000.
Yeah, 2,000. Total treatment
yeah,
would be around 2,000. Compared to that, if you get sick and you go to the hospital, that's 3 million. So I think that's
Okay, we're down to 2 minutes. So how would we implement this national program? Kasi you're saying we use it only for symptomatic. You're not suggesting we use it as preventive medication like vitamins. Am I correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes. Hydroxychloroquine only for high risk. Only for the high risk.
those already early treatment also.
Yeah. So the other proposal is have the government do a national program of information, which is giving vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc. Then we have quercetin. Quercetin is like hydroxychloroquine. That's the kumbaga yung natural alternative to hydroxychloroquine. So where do you get quercetin? You get it sa bawang, sibuyas, talbos ng kamote. That's cheap. So the government need not spend money. All they have to do is teach everyone, the poorest of the poor, what to do.
I push for vitamin D. D is already scientifically proven, and I don't know why no one's pushing it as a simple idea, cheap, free.
Because I think what's happening is some I don't want to use the word idiot, but somebody said you don't need to take vitamin D kasi may araw, lumabas ka lang sa bahay, may araw. But okay,
kaya lang the elderly may not get it from the sun kasi yung balak nila doesn't have enough of the vitamin D, and they are the targets of COVID.
Okay. So you are saying vitamin D. I'm already taking vitamin D and it's readily available online. I'm already taking zinc, readily available online. I've been taking vitamin E. I have been taking libreng advertisement na Beroka, and then I've been taking I've been taking honey. So yun lang. And then sinabi mo, Homer, talbos ng kamote, bawang. Amoy,
Sibuyas.
amoy kusina na nga ako, kakakain ng mga yan eh. Okay,
If
so,
you, well, if you eat those, then automatic ang social distancing, di ba? Di wala nga ng problema.
Plus the
oh,
lockdowns.
okay. Yeah,
Kasi,
so, lockdowns.
even the lockdowns is causing us to become unhealthy. You're not
Mm-hmm.
going out. You're not exercising. Even the socializing makes us healthy. And why do we have to lock down the healthy? The children, the rate of them getting sick or dying from COVID is so very, very much low. Sabi, compare nga, para tatama ka rin ng kidlat kung may namatay na bata. But yes, it's possible. I'm not saying it's not possible. But
Well,
why do we have to lock them down?
I have to confirm what you said because a friend of mine visited last night and we were comparing notes and he said, Kuyang, it seems like I have to conduct a funeral service every week of people dying, but not from COVID. They're dying from brain cancer, from this
Precisely.
cardiac arrest, from aneurysm, etc. So that confirms your fears.
Yes,
Yes,
because that shows
in the
us,
operating room, for example, Manila doctors, we used to operate around 30 patients a day. Nowadays, we're operating 10. So are you saying that 20 operations a day that we used to do did not matter? Those are important procedures, and we're not doing that. We're down to 1/3 of what you used
And
to do.
primarily because people, it's hindi naman siguro intention ng grupo ninyo na awayin o sisihin ng gobyerno, but because of the way things have been done, we've created an environment of fear that people, and it's true, I haven't seen my ophthalmologist for like 7 months, and
So
I
your
know,
dentist,
or my kiss my dentist goodbye. I'm scared, scared like anything. But that's true. We've created such a culture of fear that we are making risky decisions and sacrifices, and that's what your group is trying to counter or trying to kind of change.
yes.
yes,
Lastly, I'd like to say, nga
Yeah.
na, if we are not just the ones who have this idea, we actually are so happy that there's an international group that had the same idea as ours. They already came out with a declaration. There are over 40,000 experts and doctors who have signed it. It's called the Great Barrington Declaration. You can search it, it's gbdeclaration.org, 40,000 doctors, very, very renowned doctors from Oxford, Harvard, Yale, so many good doctors that signed it. And basically, they're saying what we're saying too. So we're sitting on the shoulders of giants. So we really want to have a time with the IATF, with the DOH, give them this option because I think it really works.
Okay, well, here's my suggestion to you. Get as much interviews as you can get with all the columnists and all of the TV and radio anchors, and you will surely get an interview with the IATF because that seems to be the only reason they pay attention when the media starts going after them. Thank you very much, doctors. You've
thank
been a
you.
lot of help this morning. And
Thank you. Thank you.
please keep in touch. We will be happy to bring you on board as time allows. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank
Okay, yan po si Dr. Iggy Agbayani, founding member of the Concerned Doctors of the Citizens of the Philippines, as well as Dr. Homer Lim, his co-founder, founding member. Okay, we will, I just want to put a cap on this. That's so true. All of the vitamins na sinabi ni Dr. Iggy and Dr. Homer, vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc, vitamin E, lahat po yan tinitira ko na araw-araw. And that's why, my friends are wondering, how is it possible that at your age, you're actually going about like a laborer? No, isang araw, nalaglag ako sa butas, bangon. Kagabi, nahampas ang ulo ko ng angle bar, bangon pa rin. Because I guess I have all the nutrients in my body. But the most concerning thing, and I intend to change that the minute my beautiful wife returns next week, is we need to see our doctors again. I need to see my ophthalmologist. I need to see my cardiologist. We all need to go back to our doctors because kagabi po, the saddest news I ever heard was, a very young man who passed away because of a brain tumor. And, several of these patients, hindi lang nakapunta sa doktor for 5, 6 months. Ayun, wala na, too late the hero. Sabi ng mga doktor daw nila, if they had only come back earlier, we might have been able to nip it at the bud. Okay, we'll go for a break. We'll be right back here on Agenda. Okay, you're back here on Agenda via Signal TV channels 8 and 250. And kung wala pa po kayong subscription and you are watching via Facebook, I humbly and confidently suggest that you get Signal TV subscription because you get the arts, you get the home restoration, you get sports, you get the news, international events. So medyo malaking bagay. Before I go on to our next topic, pagbigyan niyo muna po ako, no? Kasi may mga gusto akong pasalamatan. Hindi po ito mga sponsors, ano? But there are people who have faithfully been helping us on the show, personally, etc. First and foremost, Dr. Emily Roleda and Makoy Viñas of Viñas Optical, kasi sila po yung lagi nagsasabi, Kuya, yung mata mo, patingnan mo muna sa doktor mo para mabago natin grado mo kasi kukurap-kurap ka na naman dyan. Anyway, also, a special shout out, thank you, and expression of appreciation to Mr. Marco Borlongan of PLDT. Bakit po may emphasis? Kasi alam niyo po, si Boss Marco ay napaka-responsive, hindi lang responsible, napaka-responsive when we needed connection in Lipa, because I'm trying to set up a mini studio in our farm in Lipa. Hindi po farm, maliit lang yun, backyard lang yun. Nakiusap ako, Marco, pwede kaya yun? Posible ba yun? Aba, walang sabi-sabi, ginawa, kinonek. Tapos ngayon, yung mga pinapaaral namin doon, may 3 kaming pinapaaral. Sinasabi, pinapacheck ko, check nyo nga yung speed test. Sabi niya, Tito Cito, ang bilis, ang sarap. Yun, tumira na dun sa bahay ko sa Lipa. Yung 3 bata, I don't care. I don't mind. Because if we can give shelter, we can give assistance to kids who will have a better future, I'm all for it. So Marco Borlongan, thank you very much also for helping the people who asked for help regarding PLDT fiber internet. At ito po, ako na, pinaplug ko na. Kung papakabit kayo in the new normal, 100 Mbps. Marami naman kayong matitipid, may mga savings kayo in other areas na hindi na kayo bumibili ng mga pantalon, hindi na kayo lumalabas, nagbabayad ng gasolina, di gastusin nyo doon sa PLDT fiber at 100 Mbps. Kung may karibal kayo, 5 anak, padalawa mo na yung koneksyon. Also, thank you to Mitsubishi Motors Corporation and also Maria's Food Services. Ewan ko, eto nagjejeta ako, nagpapapayat ako. Padala kayo ng padala ng pagkasarap-sarap na mga chocolate cake at saka empanada. Yung Maria's Food Service nagpadala ng empanada na, fruits ang laman. Hindi, akala ko karni. Pagkain ko, ba't prutas to? Yung kakaiba. And last but not the least, congratulations to the Covenant Cars Incorporated, TCCI, the distributors of Volvo, MG, and Chevrolet. Medyo incoming soon po. I will share with you yung nangyari sa aking pickup Silverado year 2000 na ni-restore ng mga kaibigan natin dyan sa Chevrolet. Restorer ako. Tinalo pa ako sa restoration. So hindi ko pa na sasakyan yung sasakyan pero yung hindi ko magawa-gawa ginawa na nila. Anyway, let's move on. Sorry po. Sorry Gab, parang commercial ano pero we need to appreciate the people who help us express our appreciation and above all our gratitude for having people around us. Kasi through this pandemic, 2 months wala yung misis ko, wala sa anak ko, but I have managed very well, and it is because I have such great friends, and of course, you people out there who view us and give us motivation. Anyway, let's go to our next guest. Kasi po, eto, no, para may background kayo. Sabi raw ng Philippine Hospital Association nung Sabado, medyo they were skeptic or parang whatever yung Malacanang's proposal to give medical frontliners a break while utilization rates in COVID-19 facilities are still manageable. DOH data shows occupancy rates ranging from 41% to 47% na lang for COVID-19 ward beds, isolation beds, and ICU beds nationwide. Dati hindi ba sinasabi ranging from as much as 90, bumaba ng 60, umakyat ng 70, pag mataas yung numbers before. Ngayon, nasa paga 40 na lang. Pero, sabi raw, ito, I'm just reading, baka sabihin naman ni Harry Roque, tinitira ko na naman siya. Sec Galvez, siguro po pwede nating irekomenda sa mga ospital na habang nasa 50% lang po ang ating utilization rate ng ating health facilities, baka po pwedeng pagbakasyonin yung ilang mga frontliners natin para sa ganon ay makapahinga habang hindi pa po critical ang ating critical care capacity. Unquote. Pinid lang sa akin yan. Medyo alamin natin dito sa Hospital Association. Ano ba ito? Pinag-uusapan pa ba ito? Balita pa ba ito? We have with us a regular also, Dr. Jaime Almora, President, Philippine Hospital Association. Doc, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. Good morning, Cito. And
Okay.
good morning to our listeners.
Okay, ano ba to? Is this something worth considering? Kasi parang kakaiba yung suggestion eh. Bakasyon muna kayo, mga frontliners. Total, bagsak naman ng COVID. What's your reaction? What is the position of the Philippine Hospital Association?
Well, Cito, pardon my voice, nagkamalat yung boses ko, naulanan ako ng several days.
Nako, okay.
Nag-solve naman ako negative 2 times. Kung lang ito, it's a viral laryngitis. Medyo masama yung boses ko. First of all, I would like, in behalf of our hospitals and the frontliners in our hospitals, would like to express our gratitude for the concern of our good spokesperson, Attorney Harry Roque, for that suggestion of giving a time break for our frontliners. But after talking to some of our people some people in the COVID centers, the question is, how can that be possible? Yun ang sagot nila sa akin. So because I have to get their feedback. May dalawa akong anak, isa sa Makati Med, isa sa UP PGH at mayroon sa kaibigan ako na hospital director sa Central Luzon. And in fact, tumawa nga siya. paano ba posible yan? Because the business of healthcare is not like any other ordinary business. It's not about numbers. It's about quality of service. And 1 patient versus 10 patients doesn't really matter much. The same kind of attention has to be given. People has to attend to them. Kahit mag-isa yan, isang team pa rin na magmamanage yan. Kahit 10 yan, team pa rin na magmamanage yan. So bumaba nga, hindi naman bumaba ng very significantly low, bumaba ng konti. So parang hindi makita kung paano posible dahil ang hospital, okay, ganito ang sitwasyon. Although totoo that in some hospitals sa Manila bumaba, in Central Luzon tumataas pa nga. Ang mga quarantine effect naman, that's what I call these diseases that comes out because of quarantine, eh yung mga stroke, hypertension, heart attack, diabetes, tumataas naman yan. Kaya sila pumupunta sa yan ang madaming pumupunta sa hospital, and when they go they're already serious or critical. Kasi yun nga, medyo it takes some time for them to decide to go to the hospital dahil siguro takot din pumunta. So nagkatubili hanggang medyo malala na. Kaya pagpunta nila, mga serious cases din. So kahit bumaba doon sa COVID wing o wards, or kung talagang bumaba yung kaso pero hindi pa naman nangyayari na sufficiently bumaba, ang gagawin daw ng mga nasa COVID center, i-reassign lang naman nila yung mga tao nila sa ibang ICU, yung mga non-COVID area, kasi there is still a lot of work to be done. And remember that we have a lack of manpower. Problema ngayon ang manpower, mababa. We do not have access. And in a hospital situation, iba sa lahat ng business because like I said, it's not about numbers. Kahit walang pasyente, kailangan may tao dyan. Kasi anytime may darating. So kahit sabihin na natin walang COVID, the people, a team of COVID, assigned to COVID ward should still be there. Kasi pag may dumating, may mag-asikaso.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
ganun yan. So it's not about numbers. It's about being ready. It's about quality. So we thank the good attorney, Harry Rocky, for that suggestion, for the concern for our mental health. But we simply cannot see how can it be possible.
Yeah, well, good intentions lead to hell, as they say, and this is one of the good intention, pero mukhang sumabit. The thing is, I mean, given, and that was very magnanimous of you to see that the secretary wanted to, give the doctors a break, but that's not really possible. Then it brings up another issue. Siguro, instead of calling for a timeout or a break or vacation for frontliners, we need to address the actually unrecognized problem of hospitals and frontliners, which is now what you raised. Itong mga non-COVID but quarantine-related or quarantine-generated diseases. How serious is the problem?
Apparently, medyo it's something to be concerned about. Lack of exercise, excess diet, excess nutrition can lead to diseases. The only exercise that we are having now when we are in quarantine is our jaw exercise, muscle exercise.
Yeah.
Pero, we do need exercise. We need sometimes we are not conscious about it, but just walking to work, walking around is a good exercise.
You're very correct, Doc, because just last week napilitan akong pumunta sa mall dahil wala akong ibang mabilahan na hardware kundi dun sa mall na malapit sa amin. Pagdating ko sa bahay, ang sakit ng katawan ko, and I was saying, meron ba akong trangkaso? Na-COVID na ba ako? And then I realized I had not gone walking for a long time and talagang sumakit. But speaking about quarantine-generated diseases, yung dalawang naging guest natin from the concerned doctors and citizens, they also raised the same issue, na dumami yung mga cancer, diabetes, cardio-related incidents. What can the government do to help the hospitals? Kasi parang ang nakikita kong problema, maraming tao hindi na pumupunta sa mga doktor nila. Ano bang pwedeng gawin ng gobyerno para matulungan kayo?
uh, first of all, yung manpower. Kailangan namin talaga. And yung mga, as far as yung mga tao na ayan nga, hindi na nakakapunta, bumaba yung revenues ng hospital dahil kumunti rin yung pasyente. So I cannot really see now how the government can help us. But for sure, the government can help us through PhilHealth. Ang problema kasi ngayon sa COVID is yung reimbursement ng COVID claims. While PhilHealth pronounced that they will pay yung no balance billing ang mga claims, until now, from the hospitals that I have already interviewed, wala pa naman daw binabayaran sa COVID. Kasi understandably, ito kasing nangyari nga sa hearing sa Congress at saka sa Senate about paying, they should not be paying more than what is given. Kasi nagbigay kasi sila ng case rate 42,000 sa mild, something like 140,000 sa moderate, 300 something, 70,000 sa severe, and critical is 700,000. So nagbigay sila ng, now pwedeng hindi ma-consume lahat yon o pwedeng kumulang, pero that's the rate that they should give. Now, hindi naman daw legal yun, sabi sa hearing sa Congress, di ba?
Yeah.
So they're questioning the case rate. Yung case rate kasi, ang tawag namin dyan is efficiency gain, yung mga binabayad nila na hindi naman na-consume lahat. Yan ang pre-promise ng PhilHealth noon na something they have to offer back nung tinanggal yung pay for service at pinalitan ng rate. So they promise some efficiency gain that if you can manage the diseases in a much cheaper way, you will have the efficiency gain. May gain mo na yun.
Kung ano yung natipid mo, yun ang kita ng doktor ng hospital, because under the case rate system, wala na yung mga professional fees na independent of the procedure.
Itong pinopropose pa lang sa UHC, yung wala na, pero no, naka-define pa rin yung professional fee.
Ayun.
Pero i-roll out itong universal healthcare law, hindi na naka-define kung saan pupunta yung pera. Kaya mas malaking problema. That's what they call the global fund. Yung global health fund. Ay kung problema yung case rates, ay mas malaking problema itong global health fund.
Aray ko.
Kasi yung pera without identifying yung mga cases na kung saan yung pera binabayad.
Okay. Well, clearly, ang problema natin has nothing to do with vacation or break times. Our problem is getting patients to have the confidence and sense of security to go back to hospitals and consult with doctors. The hospitals have this problem regarding collecting money from the PhilHealth or compensation for services rendered. Last question ko na lang siguro, Dr. Almora. Ano ba ang situation? Because this morning, parang naisip ko, yung mga doktor ba natin o nurses ba natin, meron na ba tayong mga incidents where people don't want to go back, frontliners don't want to go back, meaning ayoko na kasi kada punta ko sa hospital during this time of COVID, yung isang paa ko nasa hukay lagi. Parang sundalo. Many of our soldiers go into war zones, and every now and then you hear of someone saying, I'm not re-enlisting after this tour because I don't want to get my head blown off. Parang ganon. Meron na bang mga cases na ganyan dyan sa mga frontliners natin?
Hindi pa namin nakikita kung mayroon na talagang bumabalik. Pero may mga nagbo-volunteer na magtrabaho. As a whole, ang mga nurses natin ay pumupunta sa other jobs, more high-paying jobs being offered by the government. For example, sa National Police, sa military, sa Bureau of Fire Protection. Ayan, yung mga high-paying jobs, doon sila pumupunta. That's where we are losing them. In addition, of course, yung mga usual na pumupunta sa abroad. Pero ngayon, may ban naman yung pupunta sa abroad. So, ang malimit pinupuntahan ay doon sa military, sa police. Like, for example, I have a dietetic nutritionist. Sa akin, anytime she would leave, as long as pag natanggap yung application niya sa military. Kasi nutritionist, she belongs to the hospital pero gusto niya pumunta mag-army because their pay is much higher.
Okay, so and the risk is not as intense. Parang nagla-lateral transfer sila, partly because you said mas mataas ang bayad, but also because pag nasa military, hindi katulad ng hospital, private or public, na talagang araw-araw yun ang kaharap mo, yung threat to your health and to others.
Yes. Yes. We really cannot match yung mga bino-offer ng military kaya umaalis mga nurses natin. Because it's not the hospital, it's the private hospital. It's not the private hospital that pays for the salary of the nurses. It's the patients. So kung ano yung capacity ng patient magbayad, yun ang ibibigay sa mga nurses. Kung gagayain namin yung sweldo na binibigay sa police o sa military, kailangan singilin namin na mas mataas din yung mga pasyente, which at this point hindi naman dapat. Yeah.
So the government has become your direct competitor, and what is the impact of all of this? Gaano ba kaseryoso itong competition between government and private hospitals? Do you see this as a clear threat that will lead to the closure of private hospitals? Or may mga nagsasara na ba? How many % are affected?
The threat is serious. I have been receiving complaints from our private hospitals. Some are really planning to close because of the lack of nurses. In my case, I used to maintain 3 nurses stations. My hospital is a level 1 hospital, but I am down to one nurses station only. And there is one hospital in Quezon City. Sabi niya, please help me decide. I want to close my hospital. And mainly yung manpower ang problema. Sorry for my voice.
Well, it's okay.
Ibang lugar, it's really the manpower problem.
Okay. Well, we're sad to hear that, and sana naman may makapanood nito sa Malacanang para ma-realize nila na their gesture, the gesture of Harry Roque is welcome to suggest a vacation for frontliners. Pero mukhang ang problema hindi bakasyon, mukhang ang problema closure and the non-consultation of patients. Anyway, Dr. Almora, I'll let you go off na because you have medyo pareho na tayo may developing sore throat. Thank you very much again this morning, and please take care of yourself, and please continue to support Agenda and be a source of very accurate information. Maraming salamat po.
You're welcome, Cito.
Okay. Yun po, si Dr. Almora. He is the president, Jaime Almora, president of the Philippine Hospital Association. Okay. There, you have it, okay? The spokesperson made a off-the-cuff remark, suggestion with good intention na baka naman pwede na natin pagbakasyonin yung mga frontliners habang bagsak ang bumaba ang COVID cases. Relative po to location yung COVID cases, may area like Metro Manila, bumababa na raw tayo to the 800, 900 a day cases versus Central Luzon. Ba yun sabi ni Dr. Almora na tumataas naman and other parts of the Visayas. So medyo mayroon ngang bababa dito, may tataas naman doon. Pangalawa, hindi po basta-basta na hindi issue yung bakasyon kasi pag kahit isa pasyente, 5 naman yung mag-a-attend. May nurse, may intern, mayroong x-ray, etc. Hindi mo rin pwedeng alisin yung mga tao. But I think the worst discovery today is they don't need a vacation, they need a solution, because if not, government will basically outpace, outcompete, outpay the private sector, and ultimately what we will end up is with government doing the entire business and taking away business from the private sector. We'll go for a break. When we return, puntahan po natin our third and last interview, Governor Presbitero Velasco, President of the League of Provinces of the Philippines, here on Agenda. Okay, welcome to the program agenda. Well, welcome back to the program agenda after that break. Meron lang po kasi akong papakita sa inyo. I just want to show you a bit of good news. I don't know if you can actually see it. Sorry, here. Here, you can see it there. There you go. Yung COVID cases, 1,600 40 na lang, new cases as of yesterday. So I'm just trying my best to just throw some pieces of good news out there to you because malaking bagay po yun. Ngayon, sisirain ko yung good news. Yung bad news, chismis. Actually, hindi po ito chismis. Related to what President Duterte was saying about corruption, may mga, alam naman ninyo, car guy tayo, restorer, we are in the community, pati yung mga buy and sell, nakakahalubilo. Ang lumalabas pong eksena ngayon, ang namimili raw ng mga high-end luxury cars. Dati, yung high-end luxury cars, mga 30 million. Yung mga Ferrari, Maserati, ganun. Porsche. Ngayon daw, ang binibili yung mga 70 million. Yung mga Ford GT40, yung mga Maybach, McLaren, or whatever. Hindi ko na alam kung ano yung mga binibili. Baka Bentley, whatever. Mga namimili raw po, mga politiko. Yun po, hindi po sabi-sabi. Ito kumbaga reliable source. May mga politiko. Anyway, hindi naman ho lahat ng politiko pare-pareho. Ito yung mga mataas ang katungkulan. In any case, let's go on with the program. Medyo parang we share that kasi baka sakaling may mga nanonood tayong mga kaibigan sa Congress, mga ganun lugar, cabinet, medyo matingnan nila yung katabi nila, lalo na sa parking lot. At magtanong-tanong na sila o kaya pag na-invite sila sa dinner, pare, ganda ng kotse mo Ilang milyon yan? Saan mo kinuha yung pera? Okay? In any case, let us go to someone mataas na naging katungkulan hanggang ngayon ay nanunungkulan at tumutulong sa bayan, lalo na sa beloved probinsya ng Marinduque. He is a retired Supreme Court Justice. Actually, ngayon ko lang nalaman. I kept thinking kasi ibang family line pero siya nga pala yun. Retired Supreme Court Justice and also now the governor of the province of Marinduque, Governor Presbitero Velasco, President of the League of Provinces of the Philippines. Governor, good morning. Welcome back to Agenda.
Good morning, Cito, and to all the viewers and listeners of Agenda.
Okay, pasensya ka na, sir. Gagambalain kita ngayon. Mukhang ang balita, the word is your fellow governors are kind of consulting with you, asking you, paano na ba itong new normal na ito? How are we going to open our territories or borders, etc.? What's going on with the League of Provinces?
Well, actually, when IATF issued IATF Resolution number 79, we had a meeting with General Eliasar regarding the implementation, and he explained the provisions of IATF 79, and he sort of tried to find out what will be our position on the seemingly open policy already with respect to the entry of non-uppers, no? So ang napagkasunduan po ay magkukonsulta muna yung mga governors dito sa kanilang mga provincial task forces and other officials of the province. At babalikan po si General Eliasar. At mga initial feedback po, Cito, is that a number of provincial governments still want to apply a restricted policy on the entry of non-uppers who will include now the locally stranded individuals. So ganyan po ang sitwasyon. But Cito, we however made an initial position that the medical clearance certificate and travel authority required under the NTF's refined organizational guidelines on management of LSIs be still implemented. Kasi po, ito lang yung ating protection ng mga provincial governments and LGUs regarding the entry of non-APORs. No? Yung pong medical clearance certificate is issued by the sending LGU as well as the travel authority. And many are aware that in the medical clearance certificate, Cito, nakalagay po doon na they have undergone a 14-day quarantine in the sending LGU, no, and that he represents there that he is neither suspect, probable, or a confirmed case of COVID-19. Yung mga dalawang requirements na po yun ay sinasabi po namin na ipagpatuloy pa rin at i-require dito sa mga papasok sa receiving LGUs.
Okay. So Governor, liwanagin ko lang First, you require the medical certificate from the LGU of origin. Ano po yung pangalawa?
Correct. Travel authority po, yung galing sa PNP ng sending LGU. That is for the proper coordination with the receiving LGU.
Okay. Pero yung pong mga COVID test at saka quarantine upon arrival, are the governors inclined to impose that? So kung pumunta ako sa Marinduque, ako ba ay marirequire na either magpa-COVID-19 test or mag-14-day quarantine dyan?
Even before the issuance of the IATF number 79, marami po ang mga LGUs na nagre-require na po niyan na sinasubject po yung mga pumapasok na mga non-APORs na doon sa PCR test or rapid test. And they also require at the same time a quarantine of 14 days in the receiving LGU. A number of LGUs were doing that even before the issuance of the resolution number 79. And patuloy pa rin po yun.
Okay, so it's still in effect. Now the question is, what is the impact of this preventive protocol, so to speak? Kasi kayo nga naman, nag-iingat kayo para sa mga probinsya ninyo na hindi magkahawahan. Pero ang tanong, may impact ba ito? Kasi kung walang impact to, di pwedeng maging forever yung mga protocol na yan.
Well, maganda naman po ang impact nito, because kahit papaano, there are certain measures that were done in the sending LGU para lang po malaman kung infected ba itong papasok na tao like the LSI or the other non-APORs. Actually, with regard to the OFWs and ROFs, that is being required that they should be subjected to PCR test and at the same time undergo the 14-day quarantine before they are admitted to the receiving LGU. Ito po yung ni-request din ng LPP na for LSIs and other non-APORs na isubject din po sa PCR test doon sa sending LGU bago po papasukin sa receiving LGU. But that was not granted, and so we had to content ourselves with the medical clearance certificate and the travel authority.
Okay, but how reliable are these documents and these requirements? Kasi time and again, marami na ako na-interview 2 months ago or a month ago ng mga mayors at saka governor nagsasabi, kanya kami namumroblema dito, padala sila ng padala. Sabi nila na testing, yung pala hindi naman pala na testing or meron palang COVID.
Tama po yun, Cito. That is our observation also and finding that yung pong ibang sending LGUs ay hindi po stricto sa pag-alam kung talagang nag-undergo ng 14-day quarantine itong mga pinapadala nilang locally stranded individuals and other non-APORs. So, responsibility po yan ng mga sending LGUs na siguruhin po nilang talagang nag-undergo ng 14-day quarantine. Itong pinapadala sa receiving LGU. And at the same time po ay talagang examinin yung mga nag-a-apply kung may symptoms ba o hindi. Kasi subject din po sa thermal scanner para malaman kung may fever. Sa tingin nga po namin, mga ilang sending LGUs, hindi naman po natin nilalahat. Baka hindi po ito pag-implement na ganyang mga examination. Lalo na po kung tatanggalin yung medical clearance certificate. Di totally po ay hindi natin alam kung infected po itong
Okay.
mga papasok, especially itong mga sinasabi niyong local travelers, di ba?
Yeah. Governor, paano na yung ekonomiya ninyo? Because Marinduque is also a tourism destination and you also have, ika nga, tinatawag nila, interaction, commercial interaction. And then yung maraming members mo ay dependent on tourism and commerce. Pagka ganyan na i-restrict natin based on status quo, baka patuloy na maghirap yung ekonomiya because yun nga yung direction ng national government. We are liberalizing and opening the doors kasi kung hindi, madidisgrasya yung ekonomiya rin ninyo dyan.
Tama po yun, Cito. Talagang malaki pong effect sa tourism industry ng ilang provinces. Po. But depende po sa local government yan, sa probinsya, kung if they will allow. But generally, yung initial feedback po ay parang restricted pa po ang gusto nilang policy sa entry nitong mga non-uppers. Definitely kasama po dyan yung local travelers. Po. Sa Marinduque po, siguro malaki pong epekto sa aming tourism industry. Pero dahil po lately, in a span of, in a period of 1 month po, medyo tumaas po bigla yung infection sa amin sa lalawigan. Kaya po kami, nag-request nga po kami ng moratorium regarding the entry of LSIs and other people. Effective po yung moratorium na yan up to October 26. No po? So, iniingatan po namin yung infection doon sa loob ng LGU. Sa totoo, Sito, alam mo, merong local transmission na mabilis. Sa isang household, nagkaroon kami ng infected persons na 10. Meron ding isang household, 7. So sa loob na nung household, nagkakaroon ng transmission. Kaya medyo talagang hinihigpitan namin ngayon. And every barangay, every dwelling or home in each barangay ay ini-inspection ho at inaalam yung kondisyon ng itong aming mga kababayan.
Okay. Clearly, Governor, yung decision mo as Governor for Marinduque is based on an existing condition on the ground. So, tama yung ginagawa po ninyo, no? Pero yung mga ibang mga probinsya, are you not worried na baka gamitin na lang dahilan or paraan? Kasi I'm saying this humbly in all humility, no? Na what worries me is para bang hindi, yan na lang. Para hindi na tayo mag-isip, hindi na tayo masyadong magtatrabaho, hindi na natin problemahin. Wag na lang tayong magpapasok ng mga tao, pahirapan na lang natin yung pagpapasok. Yung bang, there is always that temptation to go with what's easy and already there than to venture into something more challenging.
Well, Sito, we really want to open our doors to tourists, no? As a matter of fact, that is our main thrust, no, in reviving the economy, no. But at this point in time, medyo we feel that we are not yet ready for this, no. Yung other provinces, they may be more liberal, more lenient in allowing tourists so that they can easily revive their tourism industry. Iba-iba naman po ang treatment. Kaya dun sa IATF 79, nakalagay naman po doon na subject to local regulations or reasonable regulations that may be imposed by the receiving LGU, provided may notice po sa DILG. No po? Pinag-iisipan po ng mga provincial governments, siyempre importante po yung tourism industry. Sa iba po, katulad ng Palawan, ay nag-aalaw po sila. No? So case-to-case basis po. And I'm sure the provincial government officials are seriously considering all factors, whether they will allow the tourists to come in or not. Kanya-kanya po case-to-case basis na po ito.
Napapag-usapan ba, Governor Velasco, yung bubble concept? Kasi kanina nga, ewan ko kung napanood ninyo, nabanggit ko yung bayaw ko si Eric Altamirano, yung coach, ay nag-set up na sila ng kanilang 3-on-3 bubble dito sa may Calamba. Yung PBA nag-set up na ng kanilang bubble sa Clark. And mukhang yun yung nagiging concept for tourism. I think si Artiap, pinag-uusapan na nila yung bubble. Yung bang mga members ng liga, are you guys thinking of bubble where I can go to Marinduque, but I only land at the airport or at the pier, diretso sa van, diretso dun sa tourist destination, walang ibang pupuntahan. Are you guys talking about this?
Well, that is a noble approach, no po? At alam natin sa sporting events pa lang ginagamit, but we will inform the other governors about it, no? And we know for a fact naman po that nag-iisip kami ng innovative strategies para po ma-revive itong tourism industry and of course yung ating other businesses, no po? So tama po 'yon, yung bubble maganda po yung i-consider. Actually sa Monday po we will have a meeting of the governors and I will recommend that, no po. So alam mo tama naman po 'yun yung strategy na gano'n, no po, na limited lang yung makakapasok sa isang lugar. Actually we're very strict in allowing people from a town going to another town where there are tourist areas na subject po sila sa health protocols. Inaalaw naman po yung mga sa loob namin, inaalaw po yun. So may mga strategies po kami na para talagang buhay din po naman yung mga tourist area sa loob ng lalawigan namin.
Ako nga, Governor, tuwa ako dun sa sabong eh. Sabi ko, ayan, di ngayon mauuwi tayo. Hindi naman po ako nagsasabong, no? Pero dati kasi kaming sabongero, sinasabi ko yan, mas maganda na nga itong nangyayari. Kasi mangyayari, si Governor Velasco at si Ginoong Beltran ang susunod na sultada. Tayong dalawa lang ang magkikita sa loob ng gradas, walang audience, walang ingay, ganun. So parang bubble na rin. No? And for tourism, masaya rin eh kasi nakatungtong na rin naman ako dun sa napakagandang probinsya mo. Yung bang nandun ka, hindi ka pinupuntahan ng mga nagsalalako ng kung ano-ano. So tama yung ginagawa nyo na kung may tourist spot, hindi dapat nakakapunta yung mga local, yung mga nagtatrabaho lang doon. And I do hope that your membership can adopt a more novel approach kasi syempre we want the economy to grow in Marinduque and the provinces but also stay safe. Thank you, Governor. Napakalaking bagay po ng time with you this morning.
Thank you very much, Cito, and keep safe.
Okay, thank you sir. God bless you and take care. Yan po si Governor Epimaco Velasco. Nalilito kasi ako kung minsan naiisip ko yun sa NBI, naiisip ko yun sa ganito. Hahalo-halo kasi puro sikat. Yung Velasco sikat, yung Epimaco meron pa sa DILG. So sikat na mga pangalan. Anyway, he is a retired Supreme Court Justice. Ngayon, governor na ng Marinduque, head pa. Epimaco. Sorry, Presbitero. Sorry, Presby. Justice Presby. Nako po. Sorry mga kaibigan, pagpasensyaan nyo na ang kuyang kasi ang daming binabantayan ng mga monitor. In any case, that's good news. The members of the League of Provinces under Presbitero Velasco, Governor, is going to meet on Monday. Sana mapag-usapan nila itong mga bubble concepts kasi ginagawa na po yan. PBA, 3-on-3, nitong Chooks group at yun ang suggestion ng IATF sa mga sabong na sa GAB with Governor Baha Mitra or chairman ba? Chairman, di ko alam kung governor o chairman sa GAB, sa Games and Amusement Board. But the idea is, kung pupunta ka, kayo-kayo lang. Wala yung mga meron, wala yung mga sabit, wala yung pupunta kung saan ka pa magpupunta. Baka magkalat ka pa ng lagim. Okay? In any case, wrap up na tayo. And thank you for joining us this morning. Please always remember, God loves you. regardless of your situation. He is not the cause of our pandemic. He is not the cause of our problems, but he is the solution to all of it. Thank you. Have a good day.